I just feel like God does not answer men's prayers. Like, God answers women's prayers. And you can kind of test this yourself, right? Like, we are made in the image of God, and everything that we do and believe is like a shadow of God. And if a woman asks you for help, or anybody for help, if a woman asks for help, isn't she going to get it? But if a man asks for help, isn't everyone going to tell him to, like, fuck off and get a job? So I just feel like that's a reflection of how God behaves. I'm not really interested to answer the question of is that right or wrong. That's the way it is. So, I'd say accept it and move on. So what do you do about that? People will say, like, well, how comes there's no men into Christianity? Well, because God doesn't answer men's prayers. Just think about, like, if you've ever known any women in your life who are praying deeply for something, do they get it? And do you know any men in your life who pray deeply for something? Do they get it? Honestly, just try to answer the question. I'm not saying it never happens. I'm just saying, statistically, as like an average, God likes women more than men. Or that's kind of unfair, but it's part of his design that the two of them work together as a single unit, so that, like, if a man wants to have his prayers be answered, he needs to somehow, like, convince a woman to pray for him. She needs to pray that his prayers are answered. And that's the only way his prayers are really going to be answered. Not the only way, but the standard way, I would say. It's not like it's a straight up unfair situation or an evil situation. This reality is just balanced out with some other preference that, God has this preference for women and he's got another preference for men. And it's by design so that both genders rely on one another, which is again part of God's design, so that they can both, like, be blessing one another. And I just feel like that's what I'm thinking. Now, I feel like there's sort of like ways around this as well. As a single person, you don't have to get married or be in a romantic relationship. There is still a way to make progress, but still. So if you're a man, I guess, someone like me, I need to have some women in my life, like, pray for me, because, yeah,